So let's start learning. You start.
Welcome, everybody. We're here with Dudi Stern. My name is Joe Maimon. I figured we introduce ourselves this time. People need to know who's sitting in front of them. And today we'll be learning Perek Gimel, the third chapter of Orot HaTorah. And we're going to be jumping to Piska, paragraph number 3.
Yeah.
Okay?
It should be very interesting.
All right,
very
here we go. עיקר הידיעה היא שתהיה כללות התורה, דבקה בלב, בחוזק, והכרה ברורה כל כך. Something that we need to know, עיקר הידיעה. Question is, how strong is the word עיקר?
You have to run up the whole sentence.
Okay, בסדר.
Okay, and then we'll explain it.
עיקר הידיעה היא שתהיה כללות התורה, דבקה בלב, בחוזק והכרה ברורה כל כך. עד שמכוח השפעת הכלל, יושפע כוח הזהירות הפרטי לכל מצוות ודקדוקי תורה. ואז דומה הדבר לכוח חיים הנובע מן הלב, ומתפשט על האיברים כולם.
Okay. What do you understand?
I'm thinking for a second.
Okay.
The main thing to know is that the klalim is the Klalut Torah is the general outlook on the Torah, the ideas, not the details.
So and that has to be this thing of the idea of the Torah has to be instilled in us very, very hard when we learn, very strong at us, right? Why? Oh, not why. Like what's going to be the effect if we're connected to the idea of the Torah and not only to the details? עד שמכוח השפעת הכלל יושפע כוח הזהירות הפרטי לכל המצוות ודקדוקי התורה, ואז דומה הדבר לכוח חיים הנובע מן הלב ומתפשט על האיברים כולם. Only when you're completely devoted to the big idea, then your connection, you'll have an amazing and special connection to also the details.
Right. If you believe in the Torah, you believe in what it stands for and its value, so then you'll be seeing the details as a manifestation of that big idea, and you're connecting it to that big idea rather than just random things that stand on their own.
Exactly. And then he compares it, which is nice, and he uses it a few times in the next few chapters, to the heart with all the organs. Mm-hmm. Like the blood, the heart pumps the blood, and the blood manages to get to the fingers, to the legs. So the same idea. We focus on the heart, and it spreads out all over to all the details. The same thing here. If we understand that, it's not a pile of details. Like, Hilchot Shabbat, you're not allowed this, you're allowed this. Then we have Hilchot Eruvin, and then we have Hilchot Tfilah, and then we have like Sifrei Emunah, and everything's like separate. Really it all comes from one base, from one huge thing, and from there it comes down to all these branches.
Right, so I'll tell you, I thought of an analogy, and then I think that it's wrong. So I want to tell you, and you tell me, because I think that it adds depth. So there's Nietzsche's sentence that if you have a why, you can withstand any what, right? I think
it's Viktor Frankl.
Is it Viktor Frankl?
Yeah, I think so. It's in his book, and he has his book.
No, but I think I read his book, and I think
he mentions okay,
yeah,
I don't know.
I think that it's Nietzsche. I think he, he quotes Nietzsche.
Quotes him, yeah. Okay.
So I thought maybe, like, if you believe in the general idea of the Torah, what the Torah was given for, what it stands for, so then you'll be able to follow through on all of the hard, smaller details of applying the Torah. But I think that's not a good analogy. I don't think that's true here. Meaning it's also true here. That's true in life in general, but I don't know. I think that there's something deeper here. I think that he's saying here is that if you see the big idea, and then it spreads light to all of the smaller details. The smaller details are not detached and like what you need to withstand. Rather, the smaller details are part of the body, and it brings light in them, and then they are an extension of this bigger light, and it's not something that you have to withstand. Rather, it's something that is adding life. It's part of your body. It's something that you could do good with. It's part of the positive. It's part of the why.
So in the beginning, you were trying to separate, like, there's the why, and then there's the
what you need to
do, and now you understand that really it's like maybe the tree, the trunk, and the branches, something like that.
Like what he's saying here, it's the heart and the body part. You can't really separate them, and it's just being connected to the heart gives stronger meaning to the hands and to the legs, but the hands and the legs are still part of the body and are still part of what you can do good in the world. It's not something you have to withstand of suffering. It's not a form of suffering. Like the mitzvot in this ideal world, the details are not a form of suffering. They're part of the positive idea that you're connecting with.
Very nice.
You understand how it's a differentiate, like how we make a distinction between that and the analogy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's keep on going.
מה שאין כן מבלעדי הידיעה האמיתית הכללית. הרי כל דבר מן התורה הוא עניין מיוחד בפני עצמו, וזה מטיל שיבוש ביסוד הכרת התורה, ומונע מעבודת אהבה ונדבה. As it says in the נביא, והיה להם דבר השם צו לצו, קו לקו, כי צריך שיהיו דברי תורה ניכרים לחוקה אחת ומצווה אחת.
Right. So let's just explain first.
So now it's the opposite side. It's saying what it looks like if you don't have the connection between the general idea and the details.
Right.
Right? That's what he's describing now, which is like the less ideal situation to be in.
Right. So if you don't have this big idea in your head that the Torah is a big, it starts from a big thought that runs everything onwards. So you look at everything separately. This is not connected to that, like emunah and halacha, and Tanakh is something else, and in the Tanakh this is different, that's different. Like everything's different. Everything's a detail with itself. So it's a complete mistake in understanding the basic of the Torah. Like you're probably not learning the Torah the right way, or maybe you're looking at it completely wrong, and that causes us not to enjoy the Torah, not to connect, not to love it, not to enjoy it, to feel it like something, maybe like a bit of a, like studying for like academic. It's like the details, just details here or there. When I was studying nursing, so you learn, one day you learn this topic, then you learn that topic, and what's a surgery, how does surgery work, and then you learn about your heart, but like everything's separate. Every day is different. It has a different part of the body, and that's it. You don't connect them together. But like something much more deeper in Torah. It's not just the plain details. And maybe if we understand that in depth, when we learn Torah, it'll be like much more enjoyable. And he brings a pasuk from I think it's
Yeshayahu.
Yeshayahu, yeah. והיה להם דבר השם צו לצו, קו לקו. נכון שכאילו כל דבר שהשם מביא זה משהו בפני עצמו כאילו.
The Navi is sort of telling Am Yisrael that they're not okay for living like this, that you're seeing things as separate entities and not part of God's world or the Torah or a general system of that things are connected, spiritually connected in this world, in the way it was made, right?
And he finishes off with the sentence, כי צריך שיהיו דברי התורה ניכרים לחוקה אחת ומצווה אחת. Like the Torah has to be like a mitzvah אחת, which is like, it's a funny saying to say that Torah is a mitzvah achat, but yeah, we're meant to look at it in that way.
Right. I need to understand more.
No problem, man. Take your time.
But he's saying, thinking that each part of the Torah is inyan miyuchad b'fnei atzmo, that it's its own unique entity and it's separate from the other ones, it is metil shibush. It makes you think in a bent way, makes you think wrongly about what the Torah is. And what the Torah is, it's one entity, it's one pillar of light. I wonder, like, what's the issue? Like, where do we see that issue?
I'll give you an example. Like we say that we see this often in Israel, I'm sure all over, where sometimes people for the Torah, for learning Torah, for tzniut, for all kinds of reasons, could, do wrong things to people in the matters, or derech eretz, sometimes like neglected because, I don't want to be next to a woman, I don't want to, all kinds of stories we know. And then you think to yourself, wait, isn't the learning Torah and you that you're so into the Torah, is that not connected to derech eretz? Is that avodat hamidot and sifrei musar and Ahavat Israel? Is that not part of your learning Gemara every day and night? It has to be together. Otherwise, you're not looking at it right. Or another example is when you're learning Gemara and you get to Psukim in the Tanakh and you have no idea what the Tanakh, you never touch the Tanakh. or all kinds of, and like it comes together when the Gemara brings the pasuk in Tanakh and you don't know the whole background of this pasuk, you're probably missing the Gemara. It comes together. Like it's not, you can't, it's not separate. That's like more in the practical side of where I see it's all connected. But I think there's even like a deeper idea that Hashem gave us one thing that to us it comes out to details.
Into categories.
But like Hashem gave us a Torah achat, שיש שם קדושה, it's a holy Torah, and it's special, and it came to us in Har Sinai. And then, like, it's said, for us, we have it like in different categories, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now, we didn't talk about why it's monea avodat ava undava. Why does it hold that back?
What do you think? Do you have an idea?
I have an idea. When you are in a relationship and you know you love somebody, okay, family member, husband, wife, if there's just this full picture of respect and value to the other person, that is the root of your desire to be in a relationship with them, and you love them, so that general picture of like, I love this human is much stronger and much more ideal than saying, I love them because of this, or I love this part of them. When you start to break it down and say, I love this person because of this, I'm willing to give this person because of this, you're already detaching the relationship with the bigger picture of this entity, and you're already attributing the love to things that are separate from them. So the categorization there of their personality, or the way they look, or the way they behave, or any other thing you can categorize about them, is separating you from that big picture love that just wants you to give. You want to give to somebody because you love them, and if you start to ask why, and you start to say, well, because of this, and because of this, and because of this, so then what happens when those things change? Or it's detaching it from the bigger picture, from the klal of what that entity is. So I think that's maybe why this bigger picture is what brings avodat Hashem from ava and nedava, where you just want to give it to them because you love them and because you want to benefit them. Nedava, you don't expect anything in return. Because if you start to say, like, I love it because of this and this and this, so underlying there's this idea that you want something in return. You want them to live up to this way of action, right, in this relationship. But if you just love them,
or if they stop that certain thing, they're
right,
not as good one day. I don't know. For example, looks-wise, suddenly, if it's relationship with the wife, she gets pregnant, things change, or maybe she's not always the same giver she was always because she gets more tired. I don't know what. So like, okay, so maybe.
Exactly. So if you associate the love and the giving and the relationship to attributes, which are details, so it holds you back from a full connection of wanting to give endlessly with nothing in return. You're just committed to the entity that is in front of you.
Yeah.
That's why it comes to mind when I think that's like something that I was missing. I was thinking like, what's the big deal? Why not look at it as separate entities? But it's like, no, if you look at the entities and if you look at it at categories and details, you're separating your commitment to just be devoted to this individual, or in this case, it's the Torah. Therefore, the focusing on the details and seeing each part of the Torah as its own thing is monea me'avodat ava undava. Because nedava is giving without expectation of return, right? You're just giving because you want to give. That's it, right?
Very nice. Very, very nice explanation. Very, very nice explanation. It's interesting that when we come to ben adam lechavero, so we're very into like not to be judgmental, and whoever like does something, don't look at his at his actions because that's not him. You also don't know his background. You don't know his big story.
Mm-hmm.
We always say that. We all understand that. So we definitely have to say the same thing about the Torah, which is like the most spiritual thing that came. Don't look at one thing by itself. Like this comes from something big. The same eyes. It's exactly the same idea of everything has a depth, especially human beings and especially the Torah. We have to use the same tools.
Right.
That's what I think. Yeah,
Excellent.
very interesting, very interesting. And I think we have a lot of work in this topic. I think also the yeshivot world and also us in a personal way of learning. It has like practical. We can talk about it a lot, but like there's a lot of places where it comes into my life.
Right, there's a big chidush here in Rav Kook's approach that he writes in a lot of different places. I'm sure we'll talk about in the future. That trying to connect halacha and agada and seeing the big ruchani ideas and then connecting them to the details and seeing it as one unique thing. And to me, like it was like obvious, and I agreed with it, and I liked the idea, and I never thought about like why, like what benefit is there. And even now, where he just said like as if it's obvious, like that if you see the Torah as every part as an inyan miyuchad b'fnei atzmo, is a metil shibush, right? And I didn't like why. Why is that so obvious to him? And now I think I understand. Like now I wonder like why, if it's like the way we're made, or if it's just like a logic. Like it's like davar she, in some ways davar she'enot ahava she'enot tluya b'davar, right? Batel hadavar lo batel ahava. So the pratim is davar sheba. It's like a davar sheba la'olam. It's something that's more tangible, right? The details. So, and then if you make the love contingent on the detail, on the ahava she'tluya b'davar, meaning even if it's a abstract attribute, so then it goes into the category of ahava she'tluya b'davar, and the higher level of ahava is ahava she'ena tluya b'davar. So therefore, don't see the Torah for its attributes, rather see it as this pillar of light, see it as this gift given from God that will help you just have an amazing life, and try to see it as that general idea of what it is as the blessing that it is in our life. And if you see it as that, so then your relationship with it will be even stronger and you'll be more committed, and it won't be dependent on if you're sitting and learning and intellectually excited, or if you seek some sort of benefit of outcome from it, which would then be in the category of ahava she'tluya b'davar.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. So I have a lot to add about this, but like I'm thinking like there's once someone that told me a story that he went to. He's like he gives like advice to teachers how to be with the students. He's like a yoetz, how do you say, like a counselor?
Yeah.
And
an advisor, yeah.
Yeah, he started talking like in theory, like what's the idea of being a teacher? What's the goals? What's your thing? And then like one of the teachers screamed at him, he said, okay, tachlis, ma ta b'a lagid, tachlis. So he's like looking and he says, why are you jumping? You don't understand that to be a teacher and to educate kids, it has to come out. It has to start from a base, from something higher than just the practical, how to talk to the kids, how to be a personal connection. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it's very easy for a lot of the Olam Yeshivot in the Torah world. We're very much connected to the physical side of the Torah. It's only one side of the Torah, the more practical side. It's more the basar, the meat of the Torah. Because it's not theoretical. So you feel you're doing something. You feel like when I learned one test of Rabbanut I did, and I enjoyed the part of it that every day you have your goals, you know what halachot you have to do, what's your, everything's summarized like correctly.
There's progress, you're moving forward.
You feel the meat. You feel you feel like and it's easier to connect. But we sometimes like the theory and what's the story? What's Shabbat? Why do we keep Shabbat even? I'm learning now in Borer, if this is Borer, no boy, but wait, where are we starting from? And I have a lot of examples for that in life. And it's interesting. It's an interesting topic.
Okay.
It's Piska Daled. You go on.
All right. כשהלב בריא מתפשט, בחוזק כוח הלחץ. זרם הדם בכל העורקים הדקים והרחוקים, וכשהשכל חזק להבין יסודה של תורה וכלליה, ואיך פרטיה הרבים מתחייבים מתוך כללה, השקפה נעשית בהירה ומקפת, ובאה אהבה רבה ורגשי כבוד, והדרת קדושה לכל דבר, ודקדוק קל שבתורה.
Wow. He's using again the comparison to the heart, right? Mm-hmm. And me as a nurse, like I feel it so much. The more the heart is healthy and strong and has no restrictions, so all the parts of the body get great blood and healthy, and we have no issues. Like I don't want to go into stories that we see the other way where the heart is having difficulties and distributing the blood around, and then we find sometimes in the hands issues or the legs. It's amazing, this comparison. And he takes it to Olam HaTorah. What does he say about the Torah? Like we said, right? He says the more the sechel, he uses the sechel here. Interesting why he says the sechel and not the heart. Or the more we understand basechel et Yisodah, that the Torah is something that's much bigger and it comes.
Right, it's the foundation.
Yeah, go for it.
כשהלב בריא מתפשט, וחוזק כוח הלחץ, זרם הדם בכל העורקים הדקים והרחוקים. So, when the heart's healthy, the blood spreads out into the rest of the body.
Right.
Right? And can go into the different veins,
Yפה.
and no matter how far they are, let's say. וכשהשכל חזק, להבין יסודה של תורה וכלליה, and when the brain is strong and understands the foundation of the general idea of like what is the Torah, ואיך פרטי הרבים מתחייבים מתוך כללה, and he also understands how the smaller details, they come out of this general idea as a manifestation of the idea. It's the idea, it's just the next step of the same idea. It's not a separate entity, these details. ההשקפה נעשית בהירה ומקפת. The outlook becomes clear, but also broader. ובאה אהבה רבה, and then comes a lot of love, ורגשי כבוד, and the feelings of value, respect, like respect towards the Torah, והדרת קדושה, and the glorification of the holy entity that is the Torah. לכל דבר, ודקדוק קל שבתורה. And that respect and love goes to every single detail. So every single small halacha, every dikduk, why is this letter here? What does this midrash say? Every small letter and understanding of the purpose of why it was written the way it was written is just an expression of this general voice, this general idea of what the Torah brings to our life.
So you connect to it much more. Yeah?
Right.
Yeah, so that's what we said about the Ahava before the last,
Right, it's here again, Ahava Rabbah.
Right. But I feel like the paragraph we did before was emphasizing just to understand, first of all, the idea that the details come from a bigger thing. Mm-hmm. Here he adds on, I think another thing is that we got to also practically work on it. It's not only knowing this thing, also when I learn the details, connect to the big idea. You got to really work on it. It doesn't come by itself. He says, כשהשכל חזק ולהבין יסודה של תורה וכלליה, ואיך פרטי הרבים מתחייבים מתוך כללה. And when you manage to do that, suddenly when you learn these details about something, it comes like in a different way. We all know, like when we learn something like just details without getting in anything in a work or in life, when you learn something very by itself without the big idea, it's like you feel like it's boring.
Right. Yeah, it's like you're not connected to it. Where's the value here? What's this? Why am I doing this? Yeah.
Yeah. I've had a lot of years of fundraising, and my boss used to always say, every few months, you have to connect and go to see what goes on and speak to let's say it's a volunteering or whatever, like giving food, any organization it is, come there, speak to the people, connect to the big goal. Afterwards, start talking again to people.
Right.
But you have to have that.
You have to recharge like that connection to what's going on. What is this big idea? Like, what does it stand for?
Yeah, and then when I speak to someone about this amount of money, that amount of money, or his credit card, not credit card, it's not just boring details that I'm getting from someone. I'm literally now building up this amazing big goal. Mm-hmm. So like I feel it's in everything in life.
Right. That's being connected to the bigger picture of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yosef, thank you very much. It was great learning.
Thank you very much. And thank you guys for
listening
with us.
Yes. Have a great week.